fantastic authors, lots of people are curious about pen names. They want to know how they choose them, if they should use them, and how they handle them if they are querying or submitting to agents or publishers. So I'm going to talk about all of that today. I am Bryn Donovan. During the day, I do acquire manuscripts at a publishing house, and at night, I write novels myself. And I blog at bryndonovan.com. Go ahead and subscribe. I share videos every week about writing and encouragement and resources, and it's really nice to connect with you. If you're doing the Blank Page to Final Draft program, you are getting so close to being finished with your first draft, and you don't absolutely have to have this figured out yet, whether you're going to publish under a pen name or a real name. However, I have mentioned before that you might want to get going on a social media presence. And if you do that, you're going to kind of need to know what your name is. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Bryn Donovan is actually a pen name for me. Donovan is my real last name, but Bryn is the pen name. And I chose Bryn Donovan because Bryn was the name of one of my favorite songs by the band Vampire Weekend. But there are all kinds of considerations that go into choosing a pen name, and I'm going to talk about some of the benefits of using a pen name, and you might not have thought of all of them. One benefit of using a pen name is that you can own the Google search. Okay, so with my real name, Stacey Donovan, if you Google that name, you might get some of me. What you're mostly going to get is a very popular porn star from, I think, the late 80s. And if you Google Stacey Donovan editor or Stacey Donovan writer, you'll also get another editor or writer who's also named Stacey Donovan. So you have these other Stacey Donovans out there. I always think it would be really fun if the three of us got together for brunch or something like that. But you won't just find me. However, with Bryn Donovan, because it's an unusual name, if you Google Bryn Donovan, it's mostly me. And so that's a great thing about a more unique name that you can choose as a pen name. When people want to find out about you and want to connect with you, it makes it easy to find you. Now, of course, eventually you're going to be a New York Times bestselling author and you'll be the most famous person with your name. But in the meantime, your first fans, you want to make it easy for them to follow you maybe. And so you might want to use a pen name for that reason. With a less usual pen name, if you want to set up a website, you can usually get that name plus .com, which is really nice too. But if it's a more common name, it's probably already taken. Okay, another benefit of using a pen name is that you may choose a name that you like better. Not all of us really like our given names. Some of us love them, some of us don't. And so if you're not crazy about your real name, a pen name is an opportunity to give yourself a name you really love. And you might even take that opportunity to start thinking about yourself in a different way or reinventing yourself a little. So that can be a really fun thing. Another benefit to a pen name is that you can create a little bit of space between your real life or your professional life, your family life, and your author life. I do want to give you a little bit of a caution about that, though. Honestly, it's very easy for anybody to dox you and find out your real identity. And so I think you don't really want to publish or write anything that you would actually feel embarrassed or even mortified if anyone knew you wrote it. From a practical marketing standpoint, if you work with a publisher, they're going to expect to be able to use your author photo and your author bio. They're going to expect you to be able to do interviews and podcasts. If you're publishing with my publishing house, I might ask you, do you want to be on our national morning talk show? And you're not going to be able to do those things if you need to keep your identity completely secret. You know, it's a funny thing because with the Bryn Donovan pen name, sometimes when I reject a manuscript, writers get mad at me, and that just happens. But once in a while, I would get a writer who would be mad at me, and so they would threaten to dox me as Bryn Donovan, the writer of Steamy Romance. And in one time, someone even went on a tear on Twitter and tagged all of the top executives at Hallmark Channel to let them know that I was writing steamy romance. Well, they already knew, so it wasn't really a problem. It's common knowledge. This is actually why I don't have a Twitter for Stacey Donovan anymore. I just use Bryn Donovan. It just makes it, I don't know, a little bit easier. Let's talk about some things to consider when choosing a pen name, and it's a really personal decision. In the end, you've just got to make up your mind for yourself. So here's some things to consider and make your own decision about. You might want to consider choosing a pen name that's short. And there's a few reasons for this. First of all, it's easier for people to remember. And when a name is easier for them to remember, it's easier for them to recommend you as an author to their friends. So much of book sales is word of mouth. And so that can be an important thing. Now, the other great thing about having a short pen name is that you can make it bigger on the cover design, right? And best-selling authors, they usually have their name really big type on that cover. And that can be a great look even if you're not a best-selling author. So you might want to consider that too. Along the lines of word of mouth, you also want to make sure, or you might want to make sure that that pen name is easy to pronounce, because it'll be easier for people to recommend you to other people. You know, that being said, if you're publishing under your real name and it's a long name, or it's a name that some people find hard to pronounce, if you want to go with your real name, too bad, they can learn how to pronounce it. That's what I think anyway. One other consideration about pen names that I would recommend is making them at least plausible, not making them too whimsical or fanciful. I think that this can look a little less professional, and I know that when I'm reading manuscripts, if I come across a pen name that seems really fake to me, let's say I'm reading a cozy mystery submission and the pen name is Raven Sherlock or something. You know, I mean, I still give it a fair read, but it is a little bit of a turnoff. It feels a little less professional. And I know when I'm shopping for books on Amazon, I have the same reaction to really over-the-top pen names. Not everybody has that reaction, and it's really up to you. Now, a lot of people have questions about pen names and submitting. If you're sending your work to an agent or a publisher, which name do you use? Well, I can say my own experience, most people use the pen name. And then a few people will use their real name in the query letter, but say, I am writing as pen name, and then the pen name will be on the manuscript itself. I actually prefer to know what the pen name is, because if you have other books, I want to look at them. I want to check out your social media presence when I'm considering buying your book or publishing your book. And so for that reason, I really like seeing the pen name. There have been a few cases where I didn't actually know the author's real name until we actually did the contract, the publishing contract for them. Eventually, I am going to need to know the real name as a publisher because I need your W-9 so that I am able to pay you. So yeah, I would go ahead and query with the pen name or with your real name, and I write as pen name. Do you have any questions about that? Let me know. Go ahead and like the video if you're so inclined. And if you're working on the Blank Page to Final Draft program, I hope everything really goes well this week. I would love to hear any other questions about pen names in the comments, so feel free. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Have a good week. Take care of yourselves. Happy writing.